Welcome back to the Luminary podcast. I'll be your host. My name is Annie Perry. I am a professional psychic channel, a seer, manifestation and spirituality teacher, an interdimensional being of light, just like you. And you know what's so funny? I decided many episodes ago that I was not going to have a pre-recorded intro. So I record that, fresh every single time. And for some reason, I always end up saying pretty much the exact same thing. So welcome to the Luminary podcast. Welcome back. We've had a little bit of a break. Thank you. I did have some construction on my home, and so it was not suitable for recording podcasts. And then I actually had scheduled a week off, so I am back in the lab again, if you will. And very excited about a lot of things and about this episode. I have so many updates, you guys. Like, so much has happened in the last couple of weeks, and I've got it all. I've got it all written. I have everything ready to tell you. So if this is your first time listening to the podcast, thank you so much for being here. If this is your, 150 whatever time listening to the podcast, thank you so much. I appreciate every single download. It means the entire world to me. So I'm super grateful for it. And we were celebrating, those of you who follow me on Instagram, we were celebrating hitting 100 countries that the podcast is listened to in. Thank you so much for that. And actually, in the 2 weeks since we were celebrating that, is actually at 102 countries. So thank you. 100 was my goal for a long time. And it's so funny because this is manifestation. And it was at 99, and I was like, okay, when it hits 100, I'm going to get a cake, and I'm going to have 100 written on it, and I'm going to have a celebration. I've never done anything to celebrate the podcast before, so I wanted to have a celebration and just be so in my gratitude for the journey that I've been on, hosting and creating and producing and doing all of the things for this podcast for almost 4 years. And so I was waiting. I was staring at that little number 99 for 3 months straight. And before I had set a goal or created an attachment to a number, it was just rolling on its own. It was just doing its thing. And all of a sudden I put an attachment on a number, and it just sat at 99 for 3 months until I finally was like, okay, clearly I've created an attachment to this. I need to release it. I released it, and a few days later, I looked at the stats again, and it was at 100, and just thank you so much. It was on March 31st too, is when it happened, and it was the last day of the month. Every time on the last day of the month, I look at my manifestation list, and I scroll through and make sure that I have everything that came through checked off, and I'm sitting in gratitude and appreciating and then planning for what I want to create the next month. And I literally asked my spirit team, I was like, well, is there anything else that wants to come through for March? Because it was March 31st in the evening. It was 4 or 5 o'clock in the early evening. And I just had the little download to go check the podcast stats, and it changed to 100 right before my eyes. So I just wanted to say I'm really grateful to all of you, whether this is your first episode and you have no idea who I am and it really doesn't mean anything to you yet, or whether this is your 150th episode. And the truth is, most of you listening have been listening for a long time. Most of you found me either through the Atlantis Lemurian episode or through the Galactic Wars episode. You were searching for something, and you found the answer, and you were led to the answer through me as the channel. And I'm so honored to be your channel now and always. For as long as I do this, I am deeply honored and deeply grateful. My next goal is 111. So we're already at 102. Just got to release those attachments and share it with your friends. Share it with someone that you know. When I see the places that you guys are listening to this podcast from, it just blows my mind. You guys, especially because like the current climate in the United States right now is so deeply broadcast to the entire world. And it's like that hotbed that's what I grew up in. I grew up in Christian fundamentalism, where all of these topics that I'm now talking about and teaching about and understanding as my life purpose, I grew up being told that like this is witchcraft and wizardry, like this is the devil and darkness. And we know, because we understand frequency first, that that is not true. That this is a new level, a new layer to our awareness, to our understanding. It is another piece of the path on our journey back home. And as Ram Dass said, we are all just walking each other home. So I'm delighted to be on this journey with you. So as I said, most of you found me through some sort of galactic episode. And man, I just had the realization the other day that my job is so incredibly rare. There are not that many of us out there channeling about all of the galactic stuff. It might seem like there is, but when you compare whatever number of us that you have found, usually through social media, YouTube, podcasts, and then you compare it to the 8 billion people that are here, it's a very, very, very small number. So you found me, and many of you have a very deep interest in the Galactic Wars. I'm so excited that we have restarted and begun to tell the story. Thank you for the phenomenal reception to the latest episode. Thank you for your messages. Thank you for your kindness. Thank you for your acceptance. Thank you for being excited about it and remembering that part of our soul history. We are continuing. There are more episodes that are coming. There's so much in the Akashic Records that I am currently sifting through. And you guys, like, oh man, I want to go into it. Like, I have the tea on like the whole vampire thing, which was ironically like one of my biggest interests when I'm digging through the Akashic Records. I was like, I need to find out where this whole vampire lore came from, because I have the tea on that. But we are going to be continuing those episodes. And I have an announcement that I have begun a collaboration with a fellow Lightworker who is writing a book about the Galactic Wars, and she will be using transcripts from my episodes on the Galactic Wars in her books. And I am floored. We had this conversation right when we got on the phone with each other, right when we got on this Zoom call. I just knew that we knew each other, and we started like channeling information about each other. It was just so great. So it's something that we decided to do way before this incarnation. It's really, really exciting. The galactic family behind it is just going to blow your mind. I want to tell you everything, but the book is not written, and I don't want to put any pressure on this beautiful Lightworker to rush or anything. Her and I totally understand that everything is unfolding in divine timing, and she is being divinely guided, and I'm so grateful to be one of the people supporting her in that creation. So when the book comes out, I cannot wait to share it with you guys. It's going to have so many stories from the Galactic Wars. Like, you guys are going to absolutely eat this up, and I am honored and delighted to be a part of this project and continuing getting this story back out there and back into the forefront of our mind. So again, we can make different decisions, different choices, and we can navigate the new earth in a new direction. Other things that I am really excited about right now, Elysium Spring 2025 is open for enrollment, and it starts on April 15th. We are going to have 10 life-changing transformational weeks. This has been the container that has just changed my entire life. It's my signature group container. It's where you can get coaching from me. It is where you can have a very deep alchemical experience. and manifest whatever the fuck you want. Whatever you want. Some people want emotional things. Some people want spiritual things. Some people want relationship things. Some people want physical things. Some people want money things. Some people want house things. Like whatever it is that you want. And what I have found with those who come into this container, you learn so much more. Like you thought it was just about manifestation and you were going to like have some divine downloads. And then you realize that really what was being revealed to you is like the next step of your journey, more about your soul mission, more about your Akashic records, more about why it is that you came here and what you're meant to do and who you're meant to be. It is just life changing. I've been sharing so many of the testimonials and the feedback from my students. So if you would like to have that experience, please go to wellspringofficial.com and you can enroll in that. I'd be honored to have you if you feel that it is aligned for you. The other thing that you can find right now on wellspringofficial.com, which is the name of my company, my illustrious company, is some people are surprised that it's not called Luminary. Nope, that's just the name of the podcast. My company is called Wellspring Official, and some other things that you can find on there right now, all of my pre-recorded activations, the ones that I sell, are all $44. So you guys have been snatching those up and I am so happy for you. You're having all kinds of experiences, all kinds of remembrance come through. Many of you really love to get the activation from the light language, the channeled messages. There's a huge variety on there. They are all $44. At this point in time of the year, I have had no signal to change that price. They used to be like $222 each. And I got the signal to make it $44, and I am like, whatever the signal is from my higher levels, like that's where we're going. So the $44, amazing opportunity to get very high level, high frequency activations that you can listen to again and again. Now, if you are a super lucky person who happens to listen to this during the month of April 2025, right now, I have orders open for custom activations. Custom activations are where I channel 4 to 6 of your spiritual team members and I channel them into a recording. There is binaural music. There is light language. It is an entire experience. You guys have been having emotional breakthroughs, cosmic memory coming through, galactic lifetimes coming through, so much memory returned to you, knowing more about who it is that you really are, why you came to be here. And on top of that, they do a lot of energy work on you as well. So I am the channel. Your spirit team is sending all of the magic through. Those are custom just for you. And I am honored every single time I get to channel one of those. They're 44 minutes long. Well, actually, they've been 47 minutes long. They've been talking for 44 minutes straight, and I give you a couple of extra minutes to just calibrate to the experience. So it is very intense. There are a lot of multidimensional layers. Every time you listen to it, you're going to have a new experience. You're going to have new energy work. You're going to get all of those dense energies out of your body, and you're going to get the tune-up that your body and your mind and your soul really actually need to continue channeling in the 5th dimension to this reality. So they are open right now for order, but I only do a small batch of them at a time. I have not opened them since last year. This is the first time I've opened them this year. If you get the chance and it feels aligned for you to order one, if you miss the window, please send me a note either through the contact form on my website or a DM on Instagram, and I will add your name to a waitlist so that you can be the first to learn about the next time they become available. Now, those are the paid activations. I am vibrating with excitement. I am vibrating with excitement because today I channeled the most beautiful activation that I have ever channeled before. I have channeled somewhere in the 50 to 60, maybe even 70 activations in my business for different programs, paid activations, custom activations, free activations that I typically publish here on the podcast and on my YouTube channel. Now, I set the intention this year that I wanted to channel more activations exclusively for YouTube. So this new activation is completely free. It will be exclusively on my YouTube channel, which is called Wellspring Official, and it is called Soul Song. The Soul Song activation. This activation came into my field 6 days ago, and it has just like rearranged all of my internal geometry. And what I channeled today, as I put it into a recording so that it could be shared with all of you guys, it is so beautiful. I've gone back and listened to it twice, and I'm just in awe that that came through me because I do not consider myself a singer, but my higher levels tapped into whatever part of me is singing, and the music of the universe. It is ethereal. It is beautiful. And my heart chakra just felt like it was going to vibrate out of my body. Both of my dogs, I'm watching my sister's dog right now, both of the dogs in my house came to sit right next to me, as close as they could get to me, while I was channeling this activation. They have never done that before. And you know dogs, so they are very connected to sounds and tone and intonation and music. So if you don't trust my review of that, you can at least trust that dogs think it sounds good. Dogs think it sounds nice. So I think that says something for itself. It's so beautiful, you guys. On my YouTube channel, Wellspring Official, please like, please subscribe, please leave your comments, please support the YouTube channel, and there will be more of these exclusive activations coming out on there for the foreseeable future. So those are all the things I'm really excited about. Let's talk about where we are and a divine download that I had before we get into the content today, talking about some of the negatives that we experience having a spiritual awakening. This episode, really, once we get into like the meat of the episode, it is very much for those of us, and I include myself in that, for those of us who did not have the magical awakening experience. Yes, many things have been magical, but I have also experienced a lot of hardships since I've awakened. And this episode is really for those of you who feel like you woke up, you had an awakening, and then your whole life just disappeared from underneath you. So we're going to talk about all of that in just a moment. I do want to orient us right now for those of you who love to listen right when the episode comes out. We are post-eclipse season. Venus retrograde just ended yesterday on April 12th. About a week before that, we also ended Mercury retrograde. So we were in a powerful eclipse portal. It was probably the most potent one of my entire awakening since I started paying attention to what the hell all of these planets and the moons and everything are doing. And it was definitely the level of potency that I expected last year when everyone said like, this is going to be the one, like this one is crazy. I didn't feel like it was that crazy. This is the one in 2025 where I'm like, yeah, my life will never be the same. There were just daily breakthroughs, power return to my body, shifts, mental, emotional, physical, financial, relationship shifts. Everything in my life shifted. I mean, at least by 1 degree. I look in the mirror post-eclipse season and I'm just like, you're a new woman. Whoever you are, you're new. I feel like I need to get reacquainted with you because that alchemy that we just went through, you are not the same. You are not the person that I got comfortable with all of these years going through my awakening. You're somebody else, and I need to get to know you because whoever the hell you are extremely powerful, and I'm kind of scared. I'm a little bit scared. It's just been, it was just really powerful. And maybe it was for just a group of us. Maybe it was really the cardinal signs who we are now free of the Pluto return. And 2025 is really our year of coming into power. And then it could have just been me. And then it could have just been some of you. I mean, it really does go back to your astrology. I think that knowing your astrology, learning astrology is extremely helpful for you to not feel like you are just being tossed about by all of the waves of energy, and like you can actually start surfing these waves of energy. So one of the things that came through for me, one of my revelations, breakthroughs towards the last day of the Venus retrograde was that somewhere in the retrograde, and it was a long retrograde, it's longer than Mercury retrograde, somewhere in the retrograde, I just leaned the fuck into it. I was like, you know what, Venus? Actually, I'm going to take you for a ride. Actually, I'm going to fucking go there. Actually, I'm going to go beyond. Like, we're not even just talking about what I have learned in relationships and my passions and all of those great things that I talked about in the Venus retrograde episode. Like, come here. Like, let me take you by the collar and like, I'm going to take you for a ride. I told you guys, there's this new level that has come through for me. And I was just like, retrograde, like, giddy up, horsey, like, let's fucking go. And I have to tell you, the results of me just grabbing the Venus retrograde by the reins, it just accelerated everything. I came out of that retrograde feeling so fucking good. And if you know retrograde season, usually the big joke is like, like I'm getting my ass kicked, like somebody help me. And I just decided that I was going to be the ass kicker, like that I was going to be in the mosh pit, like let's fucking go. And I won't bog us down with like all of the details of what that looked like, but it was so much more an energy shift of me not hearing retrograde and thinking like, oh shit, like it's test time, right? If you've listened to my Mercury retrograde episode that I did years ago, it was all about how like it's test time and, you know, Mercury retrograde wants to know like, what have you learned? And you can be that really good student. And I was like, fuck this. Actually, I'm the fucking teacher. Like, you sit down and I'm going to tell you. And to my delight, and a little bit to my surprise, Venus and Mercury and whatever the fuck else was in retrograde sat in their seat and they were like, oh, we like this. We like this. Like, she's going to tell us what's up instead of us having to coach her through it. So it was much more an energy shift. It was much more a mindset shift. And it was much more permission for me, an internal permission for me to always be in the writer's seat of the story that I'm telling with my life. I'm the writer, I'm the director, which means that there shouldn't be guest directors coming in telling me like, no, you need to fix this and fix this and fix this. No, fuck that. This is my fucking show. Like, you can sit down and I'll tell you what it is that I'm doing. And they fucking loved it. They were delighted. The energies were delighted. I felt like so many of those just breakthroughs in all areas of my life, all of those shifts, even if it was 1 degree shift, many of them, I felt like it was multiple degree shifts. They just started to roll through. Everything started to roll through. So I wanted to leave you with that little like mastery tip about the retrogrades, that maybe that is really where we are going with all of this. If you are still feeling disempowered when the planets are moving around and the energy is moving around and the ascension energy is, you know, blasting us all into higher dimensions, if you still feel like you're this leaf being blown about in the wind, or you're this fish, you're a wave being tossed about on the sea, you know, if you still feel like that, I really believe at this point in time that it is because not enough of your power has been reclaimed and returned to you. And that is something that only you can do. You can do it energetically, you can do it through meditation, you can do it through intention, you can do it through telling your oversoul, like, return all of the power back to me, like, it's mine, bring it back, bring all of the awareness that I need to be able to handle it, but I want it all back because I'm not going to be tossed about by all of the energies. I'm tossing the energies about. I'm having the effect on my realities. And this brings us right into this little divine download that I want to share. I was almost going to pop onto Instagram stories and share it. And then I was like, no, like let it live, like give it immortality and put it on the podcast. So I was surfing the internet, and you know how that goes. There's so much that talks about the current climate on the planet in the third dimensional reality. A lot of political stuff, a lot of social issues going on right now in all countries. But of course, this fucking Atlantean country, it seems like, is always dominating the headlines. And it can absolutely feel like, especially for us, like I'm talking to light workers, I'm talking to star seeds, I'm talking to galactic beings, I'm talking to those of you that like the call went out, who is willing to go and help this planet ascend, and you were like, me, that's me, I'll fucking go, I want to go. You raised your hand, you got the approval, you came here, like you're doing the fucking work. Just by being here, you're doing the fucking work. And I know you guys, you're earnest and you are compassionate and you are such a hard worker. Like all of you, you want to help so deeply and so badly. I do not know a single starseed that wouldn't pull the shirt off of their back and give it to someone in need. Like I grew up around religious people who were supposed to be like that, and they were not like that. And so now I'm around all of you guys and I'm like, holy shit, this is exactly how we were always supposed to, like we were supposed to be loving, we were supposed to be caring, we were supposed to reach out our hand and help other people. And so when we see all of these issues in the world, big issues, our heart just says like, I want to help. Like, how can I create huge change? How can I help everyone? Like, what can I do on a global level? Like how can I change everything? Like, I just have this desire inside of me to do something. And I had this download today, very clear from my higher levels, very clear. I was taking in all of this information about the whole world, and I was like, what can I do to just help? Like, I feel like I could do something. My higher levels are like, you are doing that thing, but you did not come here to help the whole world. You came here for a very specific group to help them, and you are doing that. And that is true of all of us. There is no one on this planet that could possibly be the energy, the influence, the spiritual teacher for the entire planet. This is why we have so many different religions. This is why there's different churches on every single corner. This is why there are millions of starseeds and lightworkers here, because it's not just one person. And in fact, it's not even all of us coming together and trying to achieve the same thing. It's actually each one of us dialing in to help the group of people that we came here to help, which is a microcosm of the macro. We see these issues on a global level, and we feel that we know the answer, and we feel that we could help. And we can on a microcosm level, but trying to take on 8 billion people's problems and solve them or have change, or even millions of people's problems and solve them and have change and influence all of these people, that's probably not who you came here to help. For me personally, I know my mission very, very clearly. So when my guide said, you are doing what you came there to do, you are helping the people you came there to help, they're talking about my very clear, direct, concise soul mission. Go to that planet, incarnate, and then activate and illuminate the light leaders. Light leaders is a subset of all of the light workers that came here. Not every light worker is a light leader. There are light workers who are here doing their job simply by existing. Maybe they will never wake up. Maybe they will never, take in all of this galactic and quantum information. Maybe they will never join a moon circle. Maybe they will never join a spiritual community. Maybe they are just here in their presence, in their being, working a regular job in a regular family with a regular friend group, and they are bringing a frequency that is having an effect. That makes them a light worker. A light leader is someone who came here to awaken and then, through their own unique way, awaken others. Many of you do this through your spiritual businesses, through your teachings, through the way that you share galactic or quantum information, spiritual information with your friends group, with your family group. And so other people see you as a light leader. Now, the thing about being a true light leader is that we did not come here to have followers. We came here to go first. And that is what you will find in all true light leaders, that they are willing to go first. They are willing to become the first spiritual practitioner in their family. They are willing to become the first psychic in their family. They are willing to become the first Reiki master in their friend group. They are willing to become the first spiritual book writer in their workplace. Light leaders are not leaders because they have followers. They are light leaders because they said, I will go first. I will be the first to do that. I will be the first in my family. I cannot even tell you how many firsts in my family that I am. I'm so far out there in left field. It's like I'm on another planet. But through doing this, I affect and create change. I am here helping those that I came to help. So the second part of the download is we need to focus on helping those that we came here to help rather than getting caught up in the global level energies. Because we don't change those global level energies. They didn't become global level because of one person. I know it can kind of seem that way, but that's not true. It became global level because enough people on the planet engaged in that energy. And so if we want to spread a new energy, we need to focus on serving, on helping the group that we came here to help, doing what we came here to do, which is really being who we came here to be, and activating that frequency so that more people in the collective can partake and can activate that energy in their own field. We don't have to take on the burdens of an entire planet because what's happening on the entire planet is not up to us. And frankly, a lot of it is actually not our business. And I know that feels triggering to believe and to even think and to even consider accepting, because we are in such a connected digital age that it feels like, well, I can just reach through my phone and shake some sense into that person on the other side of the country or the other side of the world. And the truth is that a lot of what other people are thinking and doing and believing is none of our business. What is our business is to know who we are, to know what we stand for, to know what energy we are channeling into this reality, to do our shadow work so that we are not holding some of these dense lower frequencies that are contributing to what we consider global issues, to make sure that we have done the inner work to purge, cleanse, purify, release, surrender those energies out of our body, out of our mind. That is how we do our part. All right, I very much hope that that little download, that little pep talk really shed some important illumination on whatever your feelings might be. Right now, I know it is it's challenging. It is challenging. The environment that we are in is challenging. But again, I cannot affirm you enough that you are qualified to be here. You are qualified to do this. You have done Ascension on other planets before. That is how you got to this level of being approved to come to this planet and be a part of Ascension. And one of the many delightful parts of Ascension is the spiritual awakening process. So I have titled this episode The Dark Side of Awakening because you guys know, if you don't know this by now, but I always use like pop culture, movie, like niche galactic references in a lot of the titles for my podcast episodes. And I just love thinking of the titles. It really delights me. And whenever like the title just hits, that's when I know the energy is cooked and it is just like ready to come through. So let's serve. I want to start out by reading part of this message that I got in my DMs, and this message, it just really like landed with me. And this entire episode is born from me just reading this message, and then like the whole episode activated inside of me. And there was just something so relatable about this very small part of the message. So this message is from Katrina. Katrina said, "Annie, recently I found your podcast and I'm so grateful. You're so well spoken, your gifts are beautiful. Thank you. Thank you so much. So much of what you say has resonated with me. I'm waking up and it's actually fucking brutal losing everything I've known. But I know that it's the way." This was one of the most relatable messages I have ever gotten from you guys. And what really just like hit and landed for me was when she said, "It's actually fucking brutal losing everything I've known." For me, there was just this huge part of me that was like, yeah, like you get it. You get it. Because some people seem to have this just falling upwards, incandescent spiritual awakening experience. I think that's wonderful if that's what happened to you. I am very happy for you. No, genuinely, I am so happy for you. But there were a lot of us that do not have that experience, that have the experience of feeling like it is fucking brutal. Like my whole life is falling out from underneath me, or I've had people explain it to me like my whole life is exploding or imploding, or everything is just like going sideways. But like there are those people that just seem to have this like falling upwards, incandescent spiritual awakening experience where everything in their life just instantly gets better, and they're healthier and they're richer and they're glowier, and like their soul purpose and their business just like blossomed, and they're just, falling upwards. Whereas for me personally, and I've heard a variety of awakening experiences. I've heard of like awakening light, which is like, they're like, yeah, I know there's other stuff, but I'm actually not that interested in learning about it, which I call like awakening light. It's like they know, but they're not going to go deep dive. And there's like awakening deep, which is like I learned and I went down the rabbit hole and disappeared for like 3 years, and then I came out and I'm just not interested in any of it anymore. Mine personally felt like I got flung out, like I was on Earth, and then all of a sudden gravity released me and I started floating away from the Earth, and I was like, oh, this could be kind of cool. Like this is a different experience that nobody I know has ever had before. Like, what's up here? Oh, it's the clouds. Like, it's so beautiful up here. Like, this could be cool. Okay, I'm kind of panicking a little bit. Now I'm outside of the atmosphere. Now I'm like floating and tumbling through space. There's aliens everywhere. How do I get back? I can't go back. I can only astral project myself back to the 3D reality. Everything, like, I'm living in all of these multiple dimensions at once. My best friends are aliens instead of human beings anymore. My family thinks many, many things about me, and not very many of them are good things, but I'm still, like, I still go to the store and take a shower, and like I haven't let myself go, so like I think this is okay. Still pay my taxes. Like sometimes, I'm 5 years into my spiritual awakening, right? I woke up like fucking Frankenstein being shocked to life on like the table. Like I was dead inside. I used to tell people, it's like kind of a millennial saying like, I'm dead inside. I used to tell people that as like a funny joke, but I kind of meant it a little bit because I needed to numb myself from the 3D reality. It was just way too much. And I was in deep. And then my spiritual awakening happened. I was like fucking Frankenstein, like literally like rising from the dead immediately. Everything happened so fast. Like just imagine my like fucking arms out. Like I am Frankenstein, like trying to get off this table, like Reza fucking wrecked. Shocked. Back to life. Back to remembering all of this stuff. And then simultaneously freaking out, and then also feeling bad that I had been asleep for so long and wondering like, did I oversleep? Am I late? Was this supposed to happen earlier and I just didn't get it? So you had to shock me back to life? Like there was low-key panic that I was somehow like, was I failing about this job that I came here to do that I feel so passionate about? But I honestly, for like 30 years, like almost 30 years, totally forgot about and was living a totally different life, like charging like a bull in the opposite direction, and then had to get thrown on my ass, redirected. Now, some days I feel like I'm falling into the abyss, and other moments I feel like I'm astral projected into the sun, hanging out with sun spirits, and in this like bliss frequency, more powerful. Bliss frequency is more powerful than any orgasm. And then like the next day, it's like, I just want to stay in bed and watch movies and pretend the outside world does not exist. I mean, I should have told you 40 minutes ago at the beginning of this episode that this was very much going to be coming from my 3D self and, you know, the experience, like the relatable part of the experience. I think I've said before that I have no interest in being relatable, but for the sake of this episode, I do think this is going to be relatable to some people. There's like the fucking wacky ass experience that some of us have waking up. And I don't think that there is a correct way to awaken. I have heard so many stories. Again, I've heard like the whole, like everything in my life just instantly got better and better and better. And sometimes I feel like that. Sometimes that's like not very often do I feel like everything's just getting better and better and better. I feel like I have lost so many things. I really do. I have made a list for you, actually, that I'm going to talk through on this episode. I feel like I have lost so many things. I feel like I had to give them up because they were based in a lower frequency that I just wasn't willing to engage anymore. But I still had to go through the process of learning that and realizing that and grieving all of those things, which was like basically everything in my life. And again, I don't think there is a correct way to awaken. I think the goal of any awakening should be to reach mentally and emotionally and energetically to reach for a higher frequency. I think that that is the whole point. If you have awoken, it doesn't matter if you feel like you're falling upwards or you feel like you've been astral projected into the center of the sun or you feel like you have been thrown into the Mariana Trench. Wherever you have landed in this, I really do believe that the whole point of you waking up and becoming lucid inside of the dream is so that you will remember to reach for a higher frequency, that there's something in the reaching for the higher frequency that you intended, that is where a lot of your purpose is. And I believe that when we do reach for that higher frequency and we reconnect to it, we immediately begin to channel that higher frequency into this reality. Yes, there is a lot of cool shit that we can remember when we spiritually awaken and when we accept that we are a spiritual being that has had many lifetimes, that we have been many different species, that we have been on many different planets, that we have been through many, many different experiences. Like, yeah, we can remember all of that cool shit, but in the remembering, there's not always a higher frequency there. Sometimes there is, but I've tapped into and channeled many past lives where it was like, this is devastating. This is heartbreaking. I need to heal this. I need to release this. I need to conclude this part of the story for my oversoul. Like, I need to take care of this. Like, yes, I've had happy, blissful, incandescent, successful lifetimes, but like none of those were on Earth. Maybe some of my Lemurian lifetimes, but not very many as like a human. So even in the remembering of all that we have experienced, and maybe you learn how to read Akashic records and you're reading your records, or maybe you are doing hypnosis and you're starting to regress and starting to tap into all of these other aspects of yourself, that does not always equal a higher frequency. And the only way for you to actually feel good, right? Feel good, that happens in a higher frequency. So I really believe that that's the primary point of why we would awaken in a lifetime, to gain this awareness, reach for a higher frequency, and then all of the other stuff is unique to you. For me, I intended to become a channel. I intended to channel a lot of galactic quantum information into this reality. That was the job, activate and illuminate them. And I do that through the information that I channel. But your path is going to be different than mine. You're going to have other things that you came here to do. And some of that will require galactic or quantum information, and some of it will not. And I think that all spiritual teachers, I have absolutely done this for the majority of my episodes, things that I've channeled, talks that I've given, encourage you to look towards the brighter side of things, to look towards the positive side of things, to embrace the positive aspects of the spiritual awakening experience. Because once you've awoken, you can find it much easier to find those aspects and to reach for those aspects. But this episode, this is where I really want to acknowledge the moments when it seems like everything is falling apart. How could this possibly be a good thing? I think my experience personally, again, has just been all over the board for many reasons. Two of them right off the bat are I came here to teach and to teach you through experience. And I think that's why I've had a very wide variety of experiences. So that through the variety of experiences, it would be able to support more of the light leaders rather than me just having one niche experience. And then the second reason why I believe that my awakening has been all over the board is because I came here, a part of my soul missions, one of my soul missions is to do a ton of DNA work on this lineage that I entered. This is not a lineage that I've been traveling with. This was a lineage that had no one to come in and do this work. They had a couple of other souls that had a very low chance of awakening, and they needed someone to volunteer to come into the lineage that had a high chance of awakening. And I mean, sometimes when you're lining up these lifetimes and planning everything, sometimes it's just like hiring someone for a job. It's like we have some people that they can sort of do it, but we don't know if it's going to be 100%. We need an expert. And my fucking dumbass volunteered. No, okay. My 3D self would call myself a fucking dumbass for doing that. My 5th dimensional self is you were destined. This was always going to happen. You were always going to do this. You were always going to help them. You were always going to transmute the energy. You were going to change the DNA forever. And there was no other outcome available on the board. This was always going to happen. And that means that you were always going to be a success. It was always going to work. It was a yes on all levels. A yes, not just that you'll do it, but a yes that it would work. A yes that it would be successful. So for me, in that regard, in that aspect of my soul mission and doing DNA lineage work, which is intense, it's the most intense shadow work because you're taking the shadow of the entire lineage, you're drawing it into your fucking body, and then you're watch this. Watch this. I'm about to perform a trick for you. And it's called alchemy. It's called transformation. And sometimes on the lower end of things, it just feels like fucking exorcism after exorcism after exorcism of low frequencies out of the genetic lineage. And all of that happens through my body, my awareness. For the whole fucking lineage. The whole thing. My little nephew, when he was born, my spirit team said the only way this high frequency soul was able to enter into your genetic lineage, even though it's not your child, is because you did the DNA work that allowed them to come in, and they don't have to take any of that shit into their body. They don't have to be affected by any of it. They will have such a small, tiny little portion of work to do because you came here like a fucking powerhouse. You fucking macheted that shit. You took care of business. You were the fucking bulldozer that they needed. And not every day of that feels like just fucking butterflies. Not every day of that feels like, woo, like I'm hanging out with the angels. It is so amazing. It is amazing to hang out with angels. But when I'm in the depths of like, you know, getting out the deepest fear and scarcity and just garbage frequencies out of this genetic lineage, like that does not feel like bliss. That does not feel, it feels like bliss when I get to the end of the alchemical work, sure, but when I have to go reach for that frequency and do the transmutation, that does not feel like fucking bliss. That feels like work. And it's work that I want to do. I have this urge inside of me to do it because it's a part of what I came here to do. And I know that I can do it, and I know that I'm successful every single time that I do it, and I have proof that it's working. But that does not mean that my lifetime here is a vacation, right? It's a lot of it has been work. And a lot of my spiritual awakening has been work for the last 5 years. So I want to go deeper into some of these side effects of feeling like your life is collapsing so that you can know you're not alone. This didn't just happen to you. You do not by any means need to give up. And you don't need to spend any more time than absolutely necessary in the lower frequencies. Once you gain more awareness, then you start to know what's going on, why you're here, why things are happening the way that they're happening. You start to come into higher and higher and higher levels of your awareness. And when I get to the end of talking about some of these things, the spirit teams came together and they were like, we got to end this on a positive note. We got to end this, like you could start out 3D, but we got to end this on a 5D note. So I have some advice and guidance for you that is very, very much going to help you through whatever aspect of your spiritual awakening you are. Maybe yours has been bliss and you're like, I just want to listen and know what other people are going through. But most of you are going to have had a lot of road bumps. And that's me putting it nicely, because the truth is a lot of these things are so fucking scary and challenging. So typically what I see in those who awaken and it feels like their whole life just blows up, disappears, is that most of what they were building in their life was very 3D and in the lower frequency, but their soul mission is actually more aligned with 5D. So it's like you had a blueprint, but it was so different and so outdated that when you got the new blueprint, you realized on a soul level, like I have to level everything. This old blueprint, like none of this is salvageable. None of this is going to work. Everything has to change. Everything has to be transformed. So it is certainly going to look like you blew up your whole life and leveled it. And that is in order to build something new and totally different. And for a lot of us, no one in our life gets it. They're like, I don't understand why you just blew up your life. You had the car, the house, the job, the money, the trips around the world. Like you had everything going for you. You had all of this potential. Maybe you had a spouse or a partner, a boyfriend, a girlfriend, a whatever friend. And like everyone just saw your third dimensional life playing out as a bunch of Facebook photos. And you, for so long, saw your life playing out as all of those fucking Facebook photos. And then you go through this awakening, and it's like you had to level everything in your life. You had to fucking hit that delete button. And no one in your life gets it. No one who's still left, no one who's still around, like they don't fucking get it. You may have left your job or your career, or you may be in the awakening and you're in what I call the torment, which is when you awaken and you financially cannot leave your job, but you also feel so deeply out of alignment with your job that you feel like just at any moment, you're just going to combust and leave and storm out, and you fantasize about quitting, and like I call it the torment. Like, I don't know what else to call it. I've had so many clients who are in the torment. I've had friends going through their awakening in the torment, and it is like that is actually hell, because you want to leave, but you can't figure out how. I cannot tell you how many souls. This is like so many people. Surprisingly, this did not happen to me. I quit my job 3 months before my spiritual awakening kicked in. It was like one of the prerequisites, because I never took enough time off. My job was prepared to suck my soul out of my body and not compensate me very well for that. And the higher ups were always making decisions that affected me. So there was a lot of feeling powerless, but at the same time, they were pushing you to climb the ladder and to be powerful. But really, like, if you climbed the ladder in a way they didn't want you to climb it, they were just going to push you off the ladder anyway. So I quit my job 3 months before that. A lot of you guys have heard my story. And then it was COVID. Like 1 month into my awakening, it was COVID. And it really felt like a barrier to keep me from going back to one of those jobs, because I am a Capricorn. I am wired to work. I am like, this is Sunday night at 9:00 in the evening, and I'm recording a podcast because I can't stop thinking about it, because the Capricorn in me thinks about work. Like 70% of my thoughts are about work. And that's why me doing something that I love and that I feel fulfilled and I feel like is accomplishing my soul missions is detrimental. Otherwise, I'm like that bull running the opposite way. Like, I will go and drive someone else's company to the top. I will go and drive someone else's results to the top, because that urge is inside of me. And I just cannot tell you guys how many, if you've ever felt like you're the only one who has awakened and you fucking hate your job and you don't know how to quit, you don't know how to leave, you are not in the minority. You are in the majority. Because it's not what you want to do, but you haven't figured out yet how to get paid for what you want to do. So there is a lot of reprogramming that has to happen. I had to do this just minus a job. Yeah, Spirit Team really coming in hot on that one. And yeah, the gymnastics required, like, I won't even go into that. Let's just say gymnastics were required, okay? I just had this moment of realizing, I don't know how I'm going to make it, but I just know that I can't go back. And this was like, there was already COVID, there was no possibility to go to work, and I just knew, like, I can't go back. And then I tried to go back. I tried to go back in late 2021 when things were just starting to like reopen again. I tried to go back and I tried to work, and I was a business coach for therapists. I lasted 3 months, and actually I lasted 2 months, and then I gave them a 1 month notice that I had to quit. I could not go back into the third dimensional portal, however they needed me to be and whatever they needed me to think and to say. My mind and body were just not going to compute that way. And I really thought, like, I had so many panicky moments of like, did I break something about me that now I can't even go and work in one of these 3D jobs? Like, I cannot do it. And me and my spirit team have had this conversation many times over the years of me trying to understand this part of me. And they were very clear about, if you go back, you're just going to quit, because you're always going to want to do what you want to do. And I'm not talking about really a specific job, but I'm talking about working in a 3D job. A job where I don't do this every day. Because when it's 9:00 at night on a Sunday and this is what I'm doing, that's how you know I really fucking want to do this. So yeah, there was a part of me that really had to like figure it out, how to get paid to do what I want to do, how to believe that I could be paid to do what I wanted to do. Not necessarily what I'm good at. I'm good at a lot of things, especially once you can channel how to do all kinds of things. and get very good at it. In fact, there's one guy that just channels like how to play different instruments, how to be a painter, how to be all these different types of artists, because he's literally just showing people that you can channel that information and that skill into your body and just start doing it. I'm sorry, I don't remember what his name is, but he is somewhere out there. So just, if you want to find out about him, just tell your spirit team and they'll bring him into your field. So there's a lot of things that you could be good at. There's a lot of things that you could do. It's really about believing, like undoing all of that programming, believing that you can be paid to do what you want to do. And the emphasis is on what you want to do. Not just what you're good at, but whatever the fuck you want to do. And we have the evidence everywhere. The evidence is all over TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. All of these people who are getting paid to just be their fucking selves. Like, they're just influencers. They're just yappers. They're just silly. They're just funny. They're just like comedic. They're just dancing. They're just whatever it is the fuck that they want to do. The evidence is out there. People are getting paid to do what they want to do. You just have to, you have to do the work to change the belief that you have if you are in the torment. And I think it's worth noting as well, because I always get a lot of people who their programming is very deep in, I can't get paid to do what I want to do, or I don't know how to get paid to lay on the sofa. Like, there's literally TikTok people out there just laying on the sofa. These people are getting paid really, really fucking well. I've worked in social media since 2016. They're making a lot of money sitting on the sofa, just being sofa people, because so many people want to watch Sofa Person. There is a way for you to get paid substantially to do what you want to do, but you've got to know what the fuck you want to do, and you've got to change that belief. Okay, number 2, you lose all of your friends, right? You lose all of your friends. One day they are there, and the next they are gone. Maybe you had a problem, maybe you had a bump in between. For me, a lot of my changes in friendship during my spiritual awakening has been realizing that I was taught to be a people pleaser and a doormat and to be the masculine energy for everyone else. So all of my friends, my girlfriends, were all super feminine energy. And then they would hang out with me and I would be like their boyfriend. And like, I would drive them everywhere. I would pick up the tab. I would come up with the ideas. I would be the man, be the fucking man. Like, I would have to do everything. And part of my spiritual awakening and balancing my own energy was realizing, like, fuck, like, these women don't actually want to be friends with me because they care about me and what's happening in my life. They want me because I was channeling a lot of masculine energy, but I was also a woman, and so they could hang out with me and feel like they were hanging out with a girlfriend, but really I was like their secret boyfriend. It was just like it was just like a 2-in-1. Like, you get to have a boyfriend without any of the boy problems because she's really a woman. And so she will like also emotionally support you and be available for you and be there and listen to all of your girl talk and your complaints about boys. And then she'll also just like be your boyfriend at the same time. And it took me a long time to figure out that that's what was going on in my energy. I was raised by people with narcissistic tendencies. I was raised in a very deeply people-pleasing home. One of the sub-symptoms of narcissism, which is emotional immaturity, is codependency, enmeshment, and people-pleasing, which for women usually translate into be a good girl, be the nice girl, make sure that other girls like you, make sure that men like you, make sure that everyone likes you. And if they don't like you, then there's something wrong with you and you need to change yourself so that you are more pleasing to them and so that people will like you. Because if you are alone and you do not have these people around you, you will die. Well, guess what? I am still alive. I did not die when all of the people went away. I did not die when my best friend decided to never speak to me again. I didn't die when my other best friend decided not to speak to me again. I didn't die when my third other best friend decided to never speak to me again. I don't know if they will ever come back in this lifetime. What I know is that every disappearance was preceded by a conversation around boundaries and around me setting a boundary and me asking for more respect and me asking to be treated in a better way, right? Bare minimum, better way, bare minimum. And them deciding that they did not want to be in that discomfort. They didn't want to be in the wrong. They didn't want to apologize. They didn't want to acknowledge. They did not want to change. And I was on the fucking war path, the tornado path of change. I was doing hours of inner work every single day. I was changing day in and day out. I was changing 3, 4, 5 times a day. Rapid evolution, working through so much of 27 years of bullshit, working through all of that, trying to catch up to where I thought I needed to be energetically and emotionally and spiritually. And again, all of that's born from excess masculine energy, believing that there's a place I'm supposed to be other than right here, believing that I need to accomplish, that I need to have output, that I need to be productive, right? All of the excess patriarchal systems that were in me, all of those had to get flushed out eventually too. But with the friendships, it was like I was changing. They didn't want to change. I wasn't at the level where I could explain to them. And then there's also this part of me that's been growing stronger and stronger that's just like, it's not my fucking job to be the spiritual teacher or the coach to friends and family. It's not my fucking job. If they want to listen to my podcast, then they can have literally 160 hours over that, right? Because there was that episode that was like 3 hours long. Over that amount of hours to learn and to do shadow work and to change themselves, to do all of that. And it really comes back to like, honestly, if some people wanted to, they would. They would. There's so many things that they do every single day that they choose to do. And it's no one else's responsibility to tell them what to do or to force them to do anything or to change. You don't need to force your friends to go into an awakening, but you do have to go through the grieving process of letting them go. If that's what they're choosing, that's their choice. Maybe it will change in the future. Maybe it won't. Maybe some of them are awake, but you guys are on different paths and you're going in different directions. You have different missions to fulfill. I know on a soul level, I'll see everyone again. Like, you're not really ever you're not ever getting away from anyone. You're going to see everybody again. You're going to ascend with everybody that you know. You're going to merge consciousnesses with that, jackass that was your ex-boyfriend or whatever, that person you were married to in a past life, the person that hurt you, the best friend that never talked to you again. You're going to eventually merge consciousnesses with them anyway, in a deeper density of consciousness, in a higher dimension. But that's not where we are right now in time and space and dimension. Right now, where we are, the relationships sometimes end and you don't see that person. And we experience time and it's like, man, I haven't heard from that person in days, weeks, months, years. Did they ever really care? And then coming to terms with the fact that the 3D version of a lot of people do not fucking care. They just don't. They don't care because a lot of people are just wrapped up in their own problems. They're wrapped up in their own feelings. They're wrapped up in their own emotions. They're wrapped up in whatever story it is that they're telling in this dimension. And a lot of people don't care. Is now a good time to introduce you to point number 3, which is you lose or you decide to estrange yourself from your family. This is another side of spiritual awakening, like, this is my Mount Everest, is my family. I love, man, I think it was Ram Dass that said this. We're getting double Ram Dass. I think it was Ram Dass that said this. If you think that you're enlightened, go spend a week with your family. And I'm so glad that I heard that quote early in my spiritual awakening, because I definitely needed to know that. I needed to know that no matter how enlightened you think you are, no matter how much people are like, wow, you are so wise, like you are so, like, it's just amazing, all the things you can do, your family will come in so hot and so quick to humble you and just take whatever little pedestal you've tried to put yourself up on, and they will just knock that motherfucker right over. Like, they can be so ruthless. You know, I always have to remind myself that family are the souls that are literally like the closest to you. And they're here to show you the deepest lessons. Like, the closer they are to you, like siblings, parents, children, your spouse, the closer they are to you, it is just like they are here to drive the knife in so that you realize, like, oh yeah, I need to address that part of myself. And it really does sometimes feel like that. It feels like, damn, like, I thought you were the one who was supposed to love me the most. And like, on an energetic level, they do love you the most. And on a 3D level, it's like, did you have to shank me with your words, with your eye rolls, with your arguments, with your attitude, with your codependency, with your enmeshment, with your emotional immaturity, with your narcissism? Like, did you have to fucking shank me with that stuff? And I think that family has been the most challenging for me, because when you lose a lot of friendships and then it's like your workplace is already gone, so all of those relationships are gone, you're already an adult, so it's not like you're going to school and you're just making all of these new friends and these new like chosen family. And I am grateful so much for a lot of the spiritual people that I've met and have kind of become friends and, you know, soul family. But when you're really like going through it, like, you already feel isolated. And it just feels like if you're isolated from all of those old relationships that you used to have are all gone, and then it like comes to family, it really feels like this is the thing that's going to break the camel's back. Like, this is the straw. This is going to be it. Like, I'm not going to be able to handle this. Like, how do I handle losing all of my friendships, losing, well, romantic partners? Like, we'll just throw them in there. I don't feel like I lost any of them. So, but maybe you do. And all of the coworkers and like all of the things you used to be interested in, and maybe other, you know, acquaintances that used to be at places that now you don't go there anymore. And so you have this feeling of isolation as your life starts to completely and absolutely change, and you haven't really got your bearings yet in your new reality with new people. You haven't really found all of that soul family yet. And then it's like, family is like, what the fuck are you doing? Why are you talking about aliens? Why are you talking about past lives? Why are you talking about reincarnation? Like, why are you talking about chakras? Like, what? Like, have you lost your mind? Right? And over the last 5 years, I've gone every which way to figure this out. So my family is conservative, religious, MAGA people. And they wish on a very surface level, on a third dimensional level, they wish that I would join them in this. Now, I was never a MAGA person. Years before my spiritual awakening, my soul was like, no fucking way. But for a long time, I considered myself conservative because I didn't know anything else, and everyone else in my family and in my circle was conservative. And then I was religious my whole life until my spiritual awakening. And there is a third dimensional part of them, the part that they are tuned into, that they just want that version of me back. And in fact, I just had this hard conversation with my sister about this exact topic of how I'm no longer going to be able to spend time with her and by extension, my nephew, because she does not want all of me present. She does not want the part of me that talks about my work, that talks about what I do and what I think and what I believe and all the things that I'm interested in. She does not want those parts of me to show up when we are together. She is only accepting of the very small, 20% of me that has any common ground left with the version of her that she is embodying right now. And she has no interest in the rest of it. And she does not want that part of me to come out. And she intentionally changes the conversation and intentionally does not ask me questions about my work, what I do, my podcast, my social, all of the things that encompass what I do, which is such a huge part of who I am and how I spend my days and how I spend my weeks and what goes into my life. She intentionally does not ask about those things. And it's like, why would I want to be around that? Why would I want to be around someone who despises 80% of who I am just because I'm blood related to them? I cannot make that exception anymore for anyone. I'm sorry. You have another sister. There's three of us. You'll always have a sister, but I'm going to go fucking do my own thing around people. People pay to spend time with me, to learn from me, to people take time out of their day to join me on Zoom calls and spend their hard-earned money on programs and activations. I know that I'm worth something. I know that I'm worthy. I know that I'm good enough. I know the purity of my frequency. And it's not my fucking problem that people blood related to me do not see those things. And that has taken 5 years to come into realization and then into acceptance. And I think in a lot of ways, being estranged from family members feels like a missing limb. You were just so used to them being there. They've been there since the beginning. They've been there since, they've been in all of your memories. They're in all of your pictures. They're in all of the records that you have of this lifetime. And then it's you go through this awakening and you change so much that you're not even on the same frequency. There's some people in my immediate family that I'm we can't even speak. We can't even have a conversation because the frequency is so wildly different. My guides are there isn't a connection point for you with this person because of the difference you have in frequency with them. And it doesn't make me better than them. It doesn't make them worse than me. Everyone is just fine. In the one infinite creator's eyes, everything is just fine. You're exactly where you're supposed to, they're exactly where they're supposed to be. But there is absolutely the emotional experience of that for those of us who go through this with our family during an awakening. Sometimes the weight of it, the mental and emotional load of being the self-healer, of being the alchemist of the family line, of being the one doing all the DNA work. It's they're not going to thank me. They're not going to credit me. I'm not getting, my name plastered on a book for all of this work. So when I feel the emotional and mental weight of all of it, and it starts to feel it just weighs 10 tons, why did I sign up for this? Why did I volunteer to do this? No one around here is very grateful for it. No one around here seems to fucking give a fuck. Yeah, I have all of those thoughts. I experience all of those thoughts on a third dimensional level, on this level that's engaged with this reality 100%. I also have the complete opposite thoughts of like, this is working. I am destined to do this. It was always going to happen. I would volunteer to do it all again. Everything is working out perfectly. We can understand both dimensional truths and still acknowledge that sometimes like it just feels like a huge fucking weight. Sometimes it feels like a huge burden. Sometimes being the one to do a lot of the emotional maturity work in the family and to be prepared for having hard conversations while others are not, it can feel like a burden. It can feel like a weight. There are many moments, and this kind of rolls into my next point, there are many moments when you see people happy with their 3D life and you're in a moment of unhappiness in your awakening, and you start to doubt yourself. You might wish, like you might see other people, with the Facebook fucking photos, right? The highlight reel. And you're in the middle of transformation. You're in the middle of alchemy. You're in the middle of changing everything about your life. You're in the middle of growing your spiritual business. And you might just wish that you could go back to sleep. You might think you made a mistake. You might question yourself. You might start to doubt everything and to start doubting yourself of like, what am I doing wrong? What am I doing wrong? And then you might panic because you realize there is no way to go back to sleep. Once you're awake, you're awake. You cannot go back to sleep. Some people try to go back. They try to pretend to be asleep. They try to ignore the part of themselves that is awake. And really, they just end up going in a really big circle anyway. I find this a lot in those who awoke. They went down the rabbit hole very, very deep. They went into all different areas of spirituality, but they didn't necessarily work on their frequency at all. So they ended up in like weird things, like kind of culty things. They ended up with weird, like the weird moon circles that you're like, is this a cult? And then they start doing things that you're like, this frequency does not feel right. I've had people reach out to me that are like spiritual teachers. And they're like, I thought this group was going to be so great and I wanted to meet more people and I wanted to have these relationships because it does feel lonely on the spiritual awakening path when you lose all of those people and family from your 3D life and you want to start making those connections. And then all of a sudden you're like, this frequency totally feels off. Like this does not feel like it's in the right place at all. This group does not have a purity of intention, and people start to have bad experiences. People start to have bad trips on ayahuasca. People start to have bad channeling experiences, feeling like they were possessed or like they didn't have control over their body or what they were saying. And the reason for that is that the frequency work isn't there. It has to be frequency first. You have to operate frequency first because the frequency is what purifies all of the lower life forms, the lower energies, which is anything below the energy of acceptance. Any emotion below that, all that we experience on the negative spectrum has to go through the purification process. That energy gets purified, transmuted back to 0 point. So if you're not frequency first, and this is what I find in those who go down the rabbit hole very, very hard early in their awakening, and then they burn out because the frequency isn't there to support them. And so then in their burnout, they become disillusioned and they're like, you know what? It's all bullshit. I'm going to try to go back to sleep. I'm going to try to go back to my 3D life and pretend like I don't know about anything else that's out there. And again, it really just turns into a really big circle because once you're awake, you're awake. That part of you that is awake is always going to be trying to do what it wants to do in this reality, which is not the negative things, and it's not joining a cult, and it's not smoking a bunch of ayahuasca. It is the service part of the awakening. It is, what did I come here to activate? What did I come here to channel into this reality? So then usually what will happen is they'll go through a second awakening where finally the frequency information is introduced. Finally, they refine the energy. Finally, they feel that part of themselves start to come into this dimensional plane. And that's when you enter point number 5, which is all of this leads you, right? Like it starts with your awakening, and then the friendships, the relationships, the family issues, the work issues, trying to figure out what is it that I'm supposed to do here? How do I operate in this new reality, this new level of reality? All of that leads you to the healing cycle. Everyone goes through it to some degree. You've heard from me that I truly I was very deep and I got stuck in the healing cycle for like 3 years and believed that I just need to keep healing. And finally, I was sent a mentor that was like, you can stay in that cycle for the rest of your life, or you can get out of it. And the way that you get out of it is through frequency. The healing cycle does bring a lot of awareness. You start to realize patterns. This is where a lot of people on our planet are right now. We have, people like the holistic psychologists who are spreading awareness to topics under the umbrella of emotional immaturity, right? The codependency, the narcissism, the enmeshment. And awareness is the first step. Awareness is what leads you into the healing cycle. And the healing cycle is where you get more and more awareness. It starts to carve out and paint the new picture, the new perspective of what has been going on in your life. When I first started to awaken, I didn't go into all of the esoteric stuff super hard. I went super hard into the healing cycle. And that is how I got stuck in it. Because one of the maximum perspective that you can have inside the healing cycle is there is something about me to be healed. But the next level of awareness that you have to break into through frequency, through awareness, is actually there is nothing about me to be healed. I'm already whole. All of these things I perceive to be as wounds, emotional, mental wounds, were actually all lower frequencies that I can clear out of my body through energy work, through frequency work. Yes, I have to have awareness that it is codependency. Yes, I have to have awareness that it is enmeshment. Yes, I have to have awareness about this coping mechanism that I have in order for me to truly clear that frequency out of the body and to alchemize it. But it is less that there are parts of me that are broken, less that I have wounds, but actually in this higher state of awareness, I see that really I am washing away all that I do not desire to possess, all that I do not desire to carry with me anymore. Washing all of that away. One of the images that my spiritual team sent to me was imagining that there is this glowing, pure, perfect body of light, and it is covered in clay. And so you are removing all of the clay that is representative of the third dimension. It's representative of the lower life forms. It's representative of all that we experience in these denser realities, washing all of that away, revealing the body of light underneath it. But just because all of that clay was on top does not mean that you were broken, does not mean that there are things wrong with you, does not mean that there are all of these unhealable wounds. I'll always believe that the healing cycle is important and necessary, but I'll always encourage anyone that I feel is stuck in it to start stepping out of it into a higher level of awareness. And you can do that very easily by just telling your spiritual team, send me higher awareness so that I can get out of believing that I am broken, that there is something that needs to be healed about me. Back to the remembrance that I'm already whole. I'm just washing away the things that I don't want to carry anymore. This is not about right or wrong. This is about preference. This is about what you prefer. For me, I prefer the refinement of my energy. I prefer to grow my emotional intelligence. I prefer to get out of coping mechanisms so that I am not run by coping mechanisms. I prefer to wash away codependency so that I am not in codependent relationships. I prefer to wash away enmeshment so that I am not in enmeshment relationships. And all of that creates room in my mental and emotional space and physical space for me to have what I do prefer. Interdependency, emotional intelligence, emotional maturity, spiritual maturity. And one thing that I am grateful that the healing cycle taught me is the cycle of grief, right? The cycle of grief for all that you are grieving, all of the relationships and the job and the life that you, and all the life plans, all the life plans that you thought you were going to do and have before you awakened. And then it was like, I don't want that anymore, but I have no idea what I do want yet. I don't think any of us are exempt from the cycle of grief. I really don't. I think everyone goes through it because you have to go through the process of remembering how to detach from your old life, old relationships, old desires, old expectations. You have to grieve the person that you were. I've spent a lot of time in the grief cycle, grieving these friendships that were lost, grieving my family that is in a different dimensional plane and different frequency than I am, grieving that loss of connection, grieving a lot of the plans that I thought I would have for my life. And just to be totally honest, I think only just this year, 2025, I've always been a planner. Always. I've always had a list. I've always had a vision board. I've always had desires. Always. I'm 100% created to create. I love creating things. I love manifestation. I love seeing things come to life. But with the huge amount of my life and future plans that got bulldozed in my spiritual awakening over time, as I shed more and more and more and more of who I was and became more and more and more of who I really am, it was just this year, 2025, that I feel like the plans for my future have actually started to reveal themselves and feel very high frequency, feel very aligned, feel like this is the new dream, and have started to unfold. I mean, it's just been amazing. But I absolutely spent time grieving the life I thought I was going to have. And I spent time not knowing. Like, yeah, I had like ideas and plans, but I didn't know about 10 years. I didn't know about 20. I didn't know about 30 years down the line. Like, there were ideas, but it didn't feel like the plan was being channeled to me. It didn't feel like the plan was coming into fruition, coming into something concrete, becoming more and more clear. The way that we grow that vision for our life in the third dimensional reality with only reference to the third dimensional reality. So there was not just grief, but like sometimes I feel like I'm grieving everything, honestly. And that's usually what hits pretty late night. Late night existential crisis. I feel like I'm grieving everything. Especially if you get lost in like thoughts of the past. I think that I grieve time, and I've had to learn how to detach from time, which is really the only way to actually step out of it and stretch it and quantum leap it and do all of the fun stuff that you can do with time. But we're taught in 3D reality to worship and to bend the knee to time. And really, time is just this fucking watery river, and like you can get out at any time. You can get out at any time. You can get out in any present moment. You exit time. You become timeless. Sometimes I feel like I'm grieving everything. There's the late night cry sessions where your whole body is shaking and you're not even sure what you're crying about. If you're very psychic, you might wonder about your own mental health and if you're okay. Am I weirdo? Am I real? Having an out-of-body experience? Is any of this real? And then you have like the horror. If you look back, right? Because it's always looking back. The 3D is already behind you. And I've said this before, and I fully believe it. This is channeled to me all the time. The 3D reality is gone. It only exists in our memory, and that's why we still keep creating it. Because we're creator beings, and so we create whatever is familiar. So ever since 2012, we've just kept creating a 3D reality. But you and I are now creating this kind of Art Nouveau fucking 3D, 5D reality. We're creating things that have never existed on this planet before. Like, no one in your lineage, no one around you growing up was a 3D, 5D being. No one was. So everything we're creating now is like highly experimental. But you feel this sense of horror when you're looking back at the 3D reality imploding on itself, right? Which AKA is just like, if you watch the news, you want to help everyone. We talked about this at the beginning. You want to help everyone and you feel totally useless because you can't. Sometimes that's just how it fucking feels. You feel confusion when you see some people seemingly thriving in the 3D reality and you start to have that craving of like, can I just go back? Like, they're being successful. They're making it work. Like, they have all of the things that I'm trying to manifest. And you see people thriving in a 3D reality. You're like, they're so 3D. How are they still thriving? And then you look around and you see other people crushed under the weight of a 3D reality, crushed under the weight of it. And if you turn some more, you'll see people in the 5D thriving, spiritual influencers, everything's working out. They're in Bali like 3 months out of the year and they just, bought a new villa and their manifestation course is only $3.99. And you wonder, like, how are they doing it all? And you can't figure out the video game controls to get the 5D to do what you want it to do. I totally understand. I have felt alone. I have felt confused. I have felt angry. I have felt the deepest sadness and grief. I have felt betrayed, disappointed. I felt betrayed and disappointed in spiritual teachers since my spiritual awakening. I have felt the slap in the face from people who get triggered by something you say and act out on it. I have been threatened. I have been called names. I have had people who enjoyed many of my free creations throw it all in my face just because they don't like something that I said or I believed at some point in time. I have felt fear. I have felt fear that someone out there is going to take it as their personal mission to shut me up. Like, good fucking luck. You've got 8 blue Arcturians to get through. And those are just my galactic team. Don't make me call in the angelic team. They operate on a whole other level. But it's in all of those moments, right? All of those things that I have felt during this awakening process that I realize why it happened the way that it happened. Why my experience has been all over the board, from the bliss frequencies down to despair. And I kind of think of it as when you have a rough childhood, you have a tough kid. A tough kid comes out of a rough childhood. When you have a tough spiritual awakening, a person who has gone through a spiritual awakening, you have someone who knows when to be tough, when to be soft, when to say no, when to stop, when to go. With a variety of experience, I have made many mistakes, but I have learned valuable wisdom. Invaluable wisdom. Wisdom that I would not have gotten if I had been falling up this whole time. I do feel like I have rough edges, and I don't know if one lifetime is enough to smooth all of them out. I don't know how many lifetimes it's going to take. I don't know when I'll get to be soft all of the time. I don't know when I'll never see the 3D news again and just live in complete bliss for all of the rest of my days. I know that the invitation from my higher levels is there. The invitation to just step into bliss forever. The invitation is always there. It's always there for all of us. But I also know that I'm learning so much exactly right where I am. Out of all of the spiritual guides, all of the ascended masters, angels, galactics, all of this multitude of beings that I have talked to, channeled, none of them have ever said, "It's easy. It's supposed to be easy. If it's not easy, you're doing it wrong." None of them have ever said that. None of them ever said that it was going to be easy, that coming here was going to be easy, that fulfilling your soul mission is going to be easy. None of them ever said that awakening was going to be easy. But as I've come deeper and deeper into especially 2025, that recurring message to me, to those that I channel for, you are qualified. You are qualified. When I feel like it's too hard, it's too much, I can't do it, why am I not falling up? They always tell me, you are qualified. You're qualified to do this. Your cosmic resume met all of the requirements for one of the most challenging matrix experiences in our universe. Out of everyone who applied, you are qualified. And I truly, truly, truly believe that there is no single right, correct way to awaken. So if you're having thoughts of like, am I doing this wrong? The answer is no, you're not doing it wrong. You might be having a hard day. You might need to crawl into bed. You might need to just zone out and watch a TV show. You might need to go outside and touch grass. As people on the internet love to tell me, go touch grass. I'm like, thank you. That's a great reminder. Actually, I will do that. You might need to do that, and not because you're crazy, and not because you're wrong, and not because everything is on fire, but actually because it's going to help you refine your energy. It's going to help get you back into frequency first. A higher frequency, cleansing away, clearing, purifying, washing away all that you do not desire to experience anymore. And it's up to you to let it go. You are qualified. So my advice for those who are having a challenging spiritual awakening is this. Number one, this is so important. Number one, lean on your guides for everything. 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 Do you need something? Ask them for it. Do you need money? Ask them for it. Do you need a new job? Ask them for it. Do you need a new car, a new relationship, a vacation, a friendship, a new TV, a pair of socks, 4 quarters for the toll bridge, a kind word, an angel number, a cup of coffee, a plane ticket, a health miracle? Whatever you need, ask them. And actually, I will amend that. Tell them. Tell them. Tell them everything that you need, everything that you want. Do not be shy. Be bold. Be unapologetic. Be loud. Be assured. Do not grovel. Do not hold back. If you're like me and you were just raised to be polite, it certainly feels like you're asking. Like, I'm always like, please and thank you, because I just want it to be in that frequency. But truly, you're not actually asking. You're telling. You're telling them, this is what I need. This is what I need. This is what I want. Your needs are a small circle, and there's a larger circle encompassing that small circle that includes all of your wants. And they want to take care of everything. This message is from them. It's from them. What do you need? Ask for it. Tell them what you need. Don't suffer. Do not engage suffering. Tell them everything that you need. Tell them everything that you want. Tell them you're open to them helping you in all of their miraculous and wild ways. Okay, I've literally had things appear in front of my eyes. Just telling Spirit Team, you don't even need to know who they are. Spirit Team, this is what I want. 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 This will change your entire fucking life, literally in like one day. Just imagine one day where you just tell them everything that you need. And miracle after miracle after miracle after miracle after kismet after kismet after kismet thing just flies into your reality. Be bold. Be unapologetic. Be loud, be assured, do not grovel, do not hold back, because they do not see themselves as better or above you. They see themselves as their parallel self to you. They don't think of themselves as some angelic holy being. Even if they are, they're like, I'm you. I'm you. You are me. We are one. We are the same. And you're like, you are way up there, somewhere floating around, and I can't see you. And they're like, actually, I'm right here with you. And I am you. And you are me. And we are one. They will tell you that over and over and over and over again. Do not grovel. Do not grovel. I came from religion and I was taught to grovel for everything and like, please, Lord, can I have some more? And do not grovel. You do not need to grovel. Everything in this universe belongs to you anyway because you are God and you are the one infinite creator. Do not grovel and do not hold back. I see a lot of light workers. They're just so humble and so kind and so loving that they think if they ask for what they want and anything above the bare minimum, that they're taking from someone else. And that could not be less truthful, because if we believe that there is an infinite universe and everything is in infinite supply, everything, which means there's infinity available for everyone. I know, let that just blow your mind for a second. So do not grovel, do not hold back, do not ask for less, do not be all small in what it is that you're telling them you want. You're telling them that you need. Because again, they don't see themselves as above you. They're not on a pedestal above you. They see themselves as, you are my parallel self and I love you. They love you so fucking much. They are obsessed with you. But they are also bound. They are bound, as we all are, but they actually honor this. They are bound by the law of free will. And they honor the law of free will to the fullest degree that they are able to. Which means that you can sit around your house suffering, worrying about how you're going to pay your bills, worrying about this, worrying about that, worrying. And they just have to watch, waiting for the opportunity to be able to help you. They have so much fucking power, you guys. You think the billionaires on this planet have power, they have fucking nothing compared to one of my spirit team members. One. I could go to the one who's just like the next lifetime in front of this one. But I usually just call in the big guns. You talk to any of them. If you're uncomfortable talking to aliens and extraterrestrials, fine. Talk to angels. They're super sweet and they're very funny, actually. And the truth is, they see our roles as like, you're already doing the job by being there inside of the matrix. Now we want to do our job as the guy in the chair. You guys know what the guy in the chair is? He's like the support services. They want to be your guy in the chair. They want to help you. They want to do all of these things for you. They're literally waiting. They're waiting. And it's so crazy because they have so much energy available to them. They have so many, like all of the dimensions on lock. Like they play that shit like it's a fucking piano, okay? And they are Mozart. And they understand that we don't remember how to do all of that. That's why they're the guy in the chair. That's why they're the spirit guide. So they really see you as not just this dumb, sad, pathetic little unascended version of themselves. They're not taking pity on you. They see you as the courageous part of them that went into the matrix, and they want to be the guy in the chair to help you. But they absolutely cannot do that unless you allow it. Have you ever looked back on your younger self and just thought, wow, I was so lost. I didn't know what was going to happen. I wish I could help my younger self. And if you don't feel compassion for your past self, don't worry. You'll get there. You'll get there. Eventually, you start to see your past self with so much love, so much compassion, so much loyalty, unwavering support. That is how your guides, your parallel selves, feel about you. Unwavering. They are unwavering. There is nothing you could do that could get them to unlove you, because they are you. So they already know all of the things that you do. They know everything that you're going to do. They're literally in the Akashic records, like writing that shit. They know. They know about everything. And they're not judging you. And they just want to love you and support you. And they want to give you the whole world. But you have to allow them to do that. Lastly, the other thing that I would do if I was having a hard time in my spiritual awakening is that I would really focus on loving myself. The number one thing that I get asked by people to help them manifest is self-love. But self-love is not a manifestation, it's a choice. In the 3D reality, you'll always find problems with yourself. Always. You'll always find messy parts of yourself. But in the 5th dimension, that version of you that's here with you now, you're divine perfection. You are literally perfect. And I'm not talking about a parallel self. I'm talking about inside of this incarnation. If you're awakened, you're already channeling the 5th dimension into the 3rd dimensional reality, into the old 3rd dimensional reality. So you're already channeling that in here. So I think that's sometimes why we go back and forth with our feelings about ourselves. Because the old 3D comes up and says, oh, I'm such a mess. I don't know what I'm doing. Everything is going sideways. And then we tune back into our 5th dimensional self and we're like, actually, everything is divine perfection. It was bliss today. Feeling great. If you are waiting for yourself to be perfect in the 3D if you're waiting for yourself to be perfect in the 3D to love yourself, you're going to wait your whole life. And the next life, and the next life, and the next life. If you're waiting to love yourself until your house is perfectly clean, if you're waiting to love yourself until your body looks exactly the way that you think it should look, if you're waiting to love yourself until you have healed all of your emotional wounds, healed your childhood, if you're waiting to love yourself until you are financially where you want to be, till you are relationship-wise where you want to be, if you are waiting to love yourself until you have children, if you are waiting to love yourself until you have the business of your dreams, you're going to be waiting your whole life, because all of those parts of the story unfold over the course of your life. And you don't know when all of them are going to unfold. So you could be waiting on the one that doesn't come around until you're like 80 years old. And you're like, oh, now it's finally here. Now I can love myself. Now I'm perfect. And I'm ready to love myself. I finally have the house. And it's clean and organized. I finally have the partner. I finally have the family. I finally have the money. Finally, finally, finally. And you're at the end of your life. So there was 80 years of opportunity to love yourself. But you chose not to. Because loving yourself is a choice. It's not a manifestation. If you can realize that perfect and good and worthy and whole does not exist in a fractured, dualistic 3D reality. And if you can accept yourself as you are, you can make the choice to love yourself today, right now. You can ask your spirit team, the guy in the chair, for the awareness necessary to help you make the choice to love yourself. Because self-love leads to self-trust, leads to self-belief, leads to the conscious creation of what you really want. There's no right or wrong way to awaken. Because awakening is fifth dimensional, and there is no duality in the fifth dimension, which means that there is no right or wrong there. You're not doing it wrong, but you can, and I have figured this out the hard way, of course. You can do it easier. You can do it easier. It doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to extend suffering. You're already going to go through it in your spiritual awakening. I don't see any reason to increase the level of suffering. You're going to go through all of it. You're going to go through the ringer. You're going to go through grief. You're going to go through all of the experiences that come before returning to love. You're going to experience it. If someone tells you they've never experienced it, they're full of shit. They are. They're full of shit. Everyone goes through something. But once you have awareness, which is what you just gained by listening to this, you don't have to increase the suffering. You don't have to extend it. You can make new choices. You can start creating a different reality. You can start creating a different experience. And I truly believe that I went through everything I went through, and I felt everything that I felt so that I could unlock this awareness in me and pass it on to you. Beautiful beings of divine light, thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed this episode and you think someone else out there is struggling through their awakening and this might help them, please send it to a friend. If, of course, you have any of those left. No, but really, I'm so grateful to all of you who have taken the time to listen, receive these words and transmissions, and you already know that I will see you on the next one.